Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Wisdom Ways live stream on the Gift Leadership Institute. I'm Dr. Marian Diaz, Director of Wisdom Ways, and I'm here with Dr. Angela Swain.
Hi, everyone.
We're super excited to be here and just wanted to talk to you a little bit this evening about how we put this program together and why, and just share with you a little bit about who we are and what we're anticipating from this exciting program. So, yeah. Do you want
to go first? And then I'll.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just introduce myself so they know a little bit about my background. As I said, I'm Dr. Marian Diaz. I am originally from Minnesota, but I've kind of lived all over the country and in different parts of the world, and have largely worked professionally in higher education settings related to theology and ministry formation and leadership education. So I'm also a trained life coach and spiritual director who, has done a lot of teaching and writing as well as administration over the years, and have 4 amazing adult children that I share with the world. So I don't know. What do you want to talk about, Angela, about yourself?
So thanks, Marian. My name is Dr. Angela Swain. I'm a business and organizational psychologist. Currently, I'm at the Archdiocese, and I just want to share that I met Marian in 2019, and we worked on a grant together at Catholic Theological Union. And we were like, yeah, our relationship extends beyond CTU, which has been a great blessing to me. I also have children. I have 3, 2 in college and 1 13. So needless to say, our hands are very full. I'm so looking forward to this opportunity and this experience with you. We put a lot of it's a labor of love, and we really believe that God is moving us to a place where Marian coined a phrase, loving leadership. And I told her she needs to trademark that, because I really think it's such a beautiful, it really captures what this program is about. And it's really not just leadership for leadership's sake, but it's really leadership so that we can be in a position to co-create with the Spirit inclusive communities. That's what this program is about. And we recognize it's a long program. For many of you, it's a 2-year commitment, but it is such a transformative experience. And I think I speak for both of us, Marian, where it's been a transformative experience just for us individually and collectively as colleagues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been interesting. And since Angela and I, as we were meeting, I was just getting into the coaching space, having worked as a spiritual director, feeling like there were some limitations around that approach, and learning just what the practice of coaching and experiences of coaching could add to sort of a helping and formative relationship have been great for me. So, Angela is a master certified coach, and that's going to be a big part of what we're doing during our time together with this cohort, is that every month we'll be, either Angela or myself will be working with small groups of the cohort to really help figure out how each person can utilize the skills and the themes and the topics of that month in their own personal lives and interior lives, as well as in the organizations and relationships in which you all will find yourselves. Yeah. So that's super exciting. And I love it too, because again, we're continuing to grow and expand. And as Angela said, I thought it was so cool when we both jumped on the call, and I have on red and she's got on we got all these heart-centered colors going here tonight for all of you. But I've also felt for a long time that there was a way in which religious and spiritual spaces were missing the edge of the justice pieces that come with diversity, equity, and inclusion. And likewise, the DEI spaces are really missing heart and spirituality in the sense of the higher self, and the self as transcendent and related to God or spirit, or whatever nature, whatever one believes is that beyond. And so we really wanted to create something that brought those pieces together in an integrated way. So.
Yeah. And you know, speaking of, and I didn't mention this in my intro, but I work a lot with people who are business leaders or entrepreneurs. And so I typically want like an outcome. I'm very goal focused and goal oriented, as you know, Marian knows very well. And so I'm like, okay, what are our outcomes? What are our, you know, and for the first year, the outcome really is internal, right? Which is a different approach. We were talking about this before we came on this evening, and that's really a different approach to, so it's really a different approach to DEI. And I think sometimes as women, you know, we kind of get pegged into what people think we're going to talk about, like we're going to bash, we're going to do this. And it's like, no, let's approach this with us and the transcendent. And that's actually, you know, the T in gift is transcend, is going beyond who we even think we are with those limiting beliefs, and really embracing who God or who the divine, however you name that, is calling us to be in this time. Mm-hmm. And so it's just really exciting. I just feel I told Marian, we've always talked about this as we were preparing, that it really feels like an anointed moment, if you will. And it's just really exciting. So I can't wait to get started.
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks so much for raising that up about that inner movement, because we are doing this. Also, we're very attuned to the time and the context in which we're offering this. This is a time when people need that space to go inside. Challenges across the board, many in our personal lives and health lives. We've dealt with a global pandemic. We're dealing with situations of conflict and war and you know, racial injustice as well as economic injustice, and really working at the same time. Many of the people that we hope will be interested in this program are people who are those who are working and living on behalf of others. So maybe you are in the helping professions. So you're already perhaps stressed, tired, maybe close to burnout. And so in some ways, what our hope is that this first year is about looking inward and turning that care and love inward. It took me some time on my journey to get to the point where really I did recognize that in some ways, me loving myself first was the most loving thing I could do for the people around me. And it seems counterintuitive. It took me a while to get this. But that's why I think really that first year, it might involve some hard work, but hopefully some good healing as well.
Yeah. And Marian, if you don't mind, I just want to touch on a few things that we cover in the first year. So one of the things we talk about is that, you know, and you reminded me of this when you shared, like you're taking you a while, but we are complete. Right. So just looking at like our interpersonal neurobiology. And so we'll have guest speakers throughout the 2 years. And that's one of the topics we cover in year one. Another topic we cover is the emotions that we have. I think sometimes, at least how it was framed when I was growing up in the Catholic Church, is that emotions are like, they're real, but they're secondary to your relationship with God. And it's like, no, actually, these emotions are ways in which the Spirit communicates with us and to us. And so we'll talk about that. And then also we'll talk about our intersectionalities. I think sometimes in the spaces that we're in, they don't really highlight the significance fully of those intersectionalities. So when you see Marian, when you see me, you see we're women, right? Obviously, but there are other things, that other intersections that we have and we experience. And then in year two, we talk about what does this mean in terms of our communication, right? Particularly looking at nonviolent communication, and then trauma-informed care, right? Trauma-informed leadership. So we've obviously all have experienced different things, whether it's workplace related or in our families or in our biological families, and just what is the Spirit saying, and how do we show up in the world because of that? or due to that. It's not, doesn't define us, but it does inform how we operate in the world. And then going back to loving leadership that Marian coined, I'm going to make her trademark it, is this idea of, who the divine calls us to be, as we interact with our loved ones, as we interact with our workplace colleagues as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So lots of great topics. You can go online to our website, wisdomwisecenter.org. And then across the top, there's the word gift. And you can look at our website there and see more details around the curriculum. But those are just a few highlights of how, this first year is like really looking inward. And then how are we expressing that power in the world? And we really want to be honest about the power dynamics that we're encountering in the different situations we find ourselves throughout this entire program. So it's so important to this as well. So the other thing I wanted to touch on, and I'll talk about it if you want to add anything, Angela, is just the way we designed it in terms of the modalities and the pedagogy, is that we will be starting with a retreat gathering of 2 days in the end of August. So this will be a time for people to come together and introduce themselves to each other and begin to share their stories, share our stories. And then there will be also an optional closing retreat in May. Late April, actually, we have the dates so that people could attend as well. So those are the only 2 things that would be required to be in Minnesota for. We are anticipating some people might want to do this across the country or maybe even in different parts of the world. I'm not sure. A lot of this will be done online and virtually. So with each month, we look at a 4-week design in which the first week of the month is the introduction to a topic. So there'll be videos, maybe a few things to read that first week. And the second week, we'll have a large group gathering where we'll have either Angela or I will be speaking, or we'll have a speaker come in. And then we'll also have small group discussion on that. And that will be a set scheduled time. The third week, we'll be scheduling the small groups for coaching. No, the third week is the integrative activity, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll be doing an activity or maybe some sort of assessment, depending on the theme. So again, it's back to do it on your own time. And then the fourth week is the coaching, where we're really looking at, okay, how is this content really impacting my life? And how can I have other people around me help me strategize around making change as well? So that's kind of what we're thinking, mostly online, and then a mix of what we call synchronous and asynchronous activities.
Yeah. And then I'll add this to what you just shared, Marian. I think sometimes when we get in these spaces, there's this feeling of being judged, or, like, well, I don't know it all, or I don't have expertise in this. And, and Marian and I come with the perspective that we really like to create spaces where people can be, right? And that's be whoever you are. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. I think it's the space is inclusive, and it is a space where we can come and share and talk about those difficulties that we have, talk about the vulnerability that it takes to go through this process of the inner work and the outer work of how we show up. And so we really appreciate, just thanking you in advance, and just really appreciate the vulnerability and the courage that it takes to be present in this space. And we don't take that lightly. We really consider this sacred space.
Right. And we're pretty intentional about how we create the space as well. And, one thing I just do want to say is that I really, for me, besides, the T, the grow is really essential. And you're going to find that it's some of the work that we'll be doing towards the beginning of the program. And in fact, even the initial book that we're going to be reading is about post-traumatic growth.
Yeah.
And looking at flow and how we can come out of challenging experiences like we've all had in recent years and level up. And I'm a firm believer that we're not going to solve the problems with the same programming that created them. And so we all sort of have to, like, whatever, if we use the computer image of like reboot, reprogram, level up, if you're a gamer and you have gamer children, whatever, it's going to have to happen if we're really looking to make change in our organizations and in our world. We're not going to solve the problems we want to work on using the same old approaches. And so that's where I hope that co-create, like create in the sense of a really, really new spaces and ways of being that we can make together.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that co-creation involves equity.
Yeah.
It involves justice, belonging, all those values and principles that I think we all hold very dear to us. I was talking to someone at work today, and he's a priest and he's a Jesuit. And I said, "Oh, I was Jesuited, in high school." But it's just, I said, I'm here in this space because of the values and the teachings that were taught to me at a very young age. So I think that's one of the things that kind of a common thread or a commonality that we all share are these values and principles, however they were given to us, whether family or in our religious or whatever context, that those values are very present throughout the curriculum in both the first and the second year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is there anything else we want to cover before we just make some closing remarks? I would really invite you to go on our website and, check out this program, maybe share it with other people. Maybe, someone, who could spend some development funds on this. We know it's a commitment of a couple years, and we know that it's, not cheap. Again, we do have scholarship applications. You can inquire about that. But otherwise, the entire application process is outlined on our website with more details, more detailed bios of each of us. And I just really love for you to check this out and share.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, great. I think what I'm going to do is just close by reading one of these little summary statements of our intentions. The Gift Leadership Institute flows from a core mission of advancing loving leadership to build compassionate connections and equitable communities. And I just love that. Who doesn't need these connections right now? I'm feeling the longing of people starting to come back together. And what a better time to start to build a new type of and way of connecting a new group together at this time when we need new realities to have new ways of being and loving.
Well said. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, great. Thanks for your time, Angela. Be sure to check out our website. We'll have it in the description below and on our YouTube channel. And feel free to connect and email any questions that you have in the emails on the website as well. Thanks
can you mention when it starts, the program starts?
Yes, so the program starts in late August. So we will leave the applications open until we have a full cohort. So we'll be running applications, apply as soon as you can, and then we'll do interview process and communicate about how, the whole ways that we're beginning in August together. So
thank you. Looking forward to seeing all of you in August.
We would love to have you join us.